Thanks for joining today. I'm Cleofe, your host, and today we'll explore the solo mission of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and how it grew from 0 to 1.9 billion Muslims worldwide. Hey Jack and Wilson, the floor is yours.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine, just for a moment, a single individual starting from, well, absolute solitude, embarking on a mission that would eventually touch the lives of nearly 2 billion people. That's the extraordinary story we're diving into today.
It really is. And what's fascinating here, I think, is the sheer scale of the transformation we're talking about. You go from this very humble beginning, say around 610 CE,
Right.
to the establishment of one of the world's major religions, Islam, with, as you said, over 1.9 billion followers today. Our sources give us a pretty comprehensive look at Prophet Muhammad's journey, the challenges he faced, how he overcame them, and, of course, the lasting legacy of the Quran.
So our mission in this deep dive is really to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from these sources. We want to help you understand the incredible resilience, the perseverance, and frankly, the profound impact of this historical figure and the faith he founded. So this incredible journey, where does it actually begin? Our sources point to 610 CE. What happened then?
Right, 610 CE, that's the pivotal year. Prophet Muhammad, according to Islamic tradition, began receiving revelations. These came directly from Allah, from God, delivered through the angel Gabriel.
Okay.
And these revelations, received over many years, were compiled into the Quran. That's the holy book of Islam.
The central text.
Exactly. And it serves as, well, a comprehensive guide for Muslims. It really stresses the absolute oneness of God that's fundamental, along with moral integrity and a strong focus on social justice.
Okay, so he received these revelations, he starts sharing this message. But, I mean, here's where it gets really interesting. This wasn't exactly a smooth path, was it? What kind of opposition did he run into?
Oh, far from smooth. No. He encountered immense resistance almost immediately, particularly from his own tribe, the Quraysh.
They were the powerful ones in Mecca, right?
Precisely. The ruling clan. They controlled Mecca, the trade routes, the existing religious practices centered around the Kaaba, which was polytheistic at the time. So his teachings, emphasizing one God, directly challenged their established social, economic, and religious structures.
Yeah, that would cause friction.
Absolutely. It led to intense hostility and pretty quickly outright persecution of him and his early followers.
And it wasn't just that external opposition from the tribe, was it? There must have been a real personal toll, a sense of isolation.
Definitely. That's a crucial point. It wasn't just political or economic. As his message started to gain a little traction, many people close to him, even friends and some family members, began to distance themselves.
Out of fear.
Largely out of fear, yeah. Fear of backlash from the Quraysh leaders. So you can imagine this created a profound sense of personal isolation for him. And on top of that, the Quraysh imposed a social boycott, a really harsh one, against Muhammad, his family, and his followers. This meant economic hardship, real physical hardship, severe hunger, and just being ostracized by the wider community. It was an incredibly difficult period.
Wow.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the story isn't just about, listing the challenges, it's about how they were overcome. How did he navigate such immense pressure?
It's truly remarkable, isn't it? Because despite all that, the hostility, the isolation, the boycott prophet Muhammad remained absolutely steadfast in his faith. He just kept going, kept preaching. And that unwavering commitment, what must have been incredibly inspiring to others.
That perseverance was absolutely central, no doubt about it. And slowly, gradually, he gathered this group of dedicated followers around him. They formed the nucleus of the Ummah, the early Muslim community.
The Ummah.
Yes. And this community became vital. It provided mutual support, protection, a sense of belonging during those incredibly tough, isolating times in Mecca.
So this period of intense adversity, it kind of builds and builds, and then there's this critical turning point, right? A literal journey that changed everything.
Absolutely, a really pivotal moment. That was the migration to Medina, which at the time was known as Yathrib. This happened in 622 CE.
Hijra.
Exactly, the Hijra. It's a landmark event in Islamic history. And it wasn't just about escaping persecution, though that was part of it. Moving to Medina allowed him to establish a community where Islam could be practiced openly. And crucially, it enabled him to lay the foundations for the first Islamic state. It completely shifted the dynamics.
Right. So once settled in Medina with this new foundation, how did things change? What was the impact of his leadership there?
Well, Medina provided a secure base, and from there, his leadership qualities and, interestingly, his diplomatic skills really came to the fore. The Muslim community began to grow significantly. His teachings started spreading much more rapidly, first in Medina and then outwards across the Arabian Peninsula. So much so that by the time of his death, which was in 632 CE,
Only 10 years later.
just 10 years after the Hijra, exactly, Islam had established a really substantial following throughout the region. It's a remarkable transformation in a very short period.
Okay, so we've traced the historical journey, the community growth. But beyond that narrative, our sources point to something else, something considered truly miraculous about the Quran itself. What makes it stand out in that way?
Yeah, that's a core belief for Muslims. One aspect often highlighted is its unparalleled linguistic beauty and eloquence. Arabic speakers, even those not Muslim, often acknowledge its unique style.
How so?
Its rhythmic structure, the depth of its imagery, the sheer phonetic power of the verses when recited it was considered unlike anything that existed in Arabic poetry or prose before. For many, this literary quality is seen as, well, inimitable by human hands.
But it's not just the language, is it? I found it fascinating that our sources mention overlaps with modern science. How does that work?
Right, this is another area often cited. The idea is that the Quran contains statements or descriptions related to the natural world that seem to align remarkably well with modern scientific discoveries made centuries later.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. For instance, embryology. There are verses describing the stages of human embryonic development, from a clot to a lump of flesh, the formation of bones being clothed with flesh. And these stages, described over 1,400 years ago, show striking parallels to what modern embryology has revealed through microscopy.
Wow, okay.
Then there's cosmology. Some verses are interpreted as referring to the expansion of the universe, something confirmed by astrophysics only in the 20th century. And also natural phenomena. You find mentions of the water cycle, how clouds are formed and produce rain, the distinct barriers between freshwater and saltwater. Again, things understood scientifically much, much later. For believers, this perceived foreknowledge is a powerful sign of divine origin.
And beyond the sort of miraculous aspects, linguistic or scientific, what about its practical guidance for just living life?
Absolutely crucial. It's not just abstract. The Quran's teachings provide comprehensive moral and ethical guidelines. These are meant to be timeless, remaining relevant to contemporary issues. It consistently promotes principles like justice, fairness, compassion, looking after the poor and needy, and the general welfare of the community.
So these principles are seen as enduring.
Very much so. The idea is that these core values transcend time and culture.
Which I suppose raises an important question for us today. How do these ancient teachings actually resonate with millions of people living in the 21st century? How do they connect?
That's the key question, isn't it? And the answer seems to be that these core principles, the emphasis on justice, compassion, ethical conduct, are widely seen as compatible with and even supportive of many modern values.
Can you give an example? Like, how might a principle like justice from the Quran be applied today?
Sure. Take social justice. The Quran places a strong emphasis on caring for the marginalized, ensuring fairness in economic dealings, and upholding people's rights. Today, many Muslims draw on these teachings to advocate for things like human rights, fair trade practices, or even environmental protection, seeing the earth as a trust from God.
So it inspires action in contemporary issues.
Exactly. It's not just a historical text. It's seen as a living guide. And you have many scholars working constantly to interpret these teachings in light of modern challenges. Issues like, say, gender equality, complex bioethical questions, environmental sustainability, interfaith relations. There's ongoing scholarly work, ijtihad, or interpretation, to see how the foundational principles apply now.
And I imagine the application isn't uniform across the globe, right? Does it vary based on culture?
Oh, absolutely. That's a really important point. The application of Islamic laws and principles can and does differ significantly based on cultural context, historical developments in different regions, and interpretations favored by different schools of Islamic thought.
So lots of diversity within Islam itself.
Huge diversity. You see a wide spectrum of practices and legal applications among Muslim communities worldwide. It's definitely not monolithic.
So when we step back and look at the whole picture, what does this all mean? I mean, the journey of Prophet Muhammad, starting as this solitary figure and becoming the leader of what's now a global faith, it's just a staggering testament to his resilience, his vision.
It truly is. You know, despite facing just enormous enormous, persistent challenges, hostility, boycotts, warfare later on, he laid the foundation for a belief system that has shown incredible endurance for over 1,400 years. And for believers, the perceived miraculous nature of the Quran, its linguistic depth, those surprising apparent alignments with science, these further underscore its significance.
Yeah. What really stands out to me, thinking about it now, is how a deeply personal, almost isolated spiritual journey can ripple outwards with such incredible force. How it can shape history, create these vast, vibrant, diverse communities all around the globe, communities united by these shared principles and values, even with all their internal diversity. It really makes you consider, doesn't it, how ancient wisdom continues not just to survive, but to inspire people and adapt, offering guidance for completely new challenges and contexts, even today.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope you've gained some valuable insights. If you're a truth seeker, yearning for divine light and ready to step out of darkness, now is your moment. The truth is that Allah is the one and only creator of the universe. He has sent over 124,000 messengers and prophets to guide humanity, starting with Adam and culminating with the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. If you resonate with this message, you might be ready to embrace Islam. Simply recite the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. For further support, feel free to join our WhatsApp group. You can send us a private message there. The link is in the video description. Don't wait until it's too late. We look forward to connecting with you soon.